So good morning, everybody. It's great to be here, and with these four outstanding, talented individuals that are going to join the Evers-Barnes administration in some really important places. And so, as governor, my focus is always going to be on the people of the state and solving problems. And that's when we went into this selection process of team members and secretaries and commissioners in a couple of different ways. One, to make sure that they are all able to connect the dots, and that is a really important characteristic. And all four of these people, and the four that we announced last week, fit that category. We have obviously lots of problems in the state that's going to take more than one individual and one agency to fix, and so these people are extraordinarily talented in the whole connecting the dots arena. So I feel very proud to introduce them to you today. These folks are going to help us make sure that we work towards responsible resource use and energy innovation, finding a long-term and much-needed solution to our transportation funding process and crisis. We're selecting people that are going to be helping us to ensure that health insurance is affordable and accessible while protecting that coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. And of course, by keeping our economy strong by supporting and protecting family farms across the state of Wisconsin. Excuse me while I flip the page here. So Lieutenant Governor Barnes and myself are honored to have these folks joining our team. And now I'd like to introduce the next Public Service Commissioner for the state of Wisconsin, Rebecca Buck. Rebecca?
Good morning. I want to thank Governor-elect Evers for offering me the opportunity to serve at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin. I very much look forward to serving the people of Wisconsin, and it's a true honor to have been selected. Over 100 years ago, Wisconsin recognized a simple truth. Monopoly providers of essential public services simply cannot be allowed to unilaterally set prices and establish terms of service. Given that simple truth, Wisconsin responded by creating an independent government agency, the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin, to regulate utilities in the public interest. That was in 1907. Wisconsin was the very first state in the nation to create such an agency. Ultimately, every other state followed our lead. The task of responsibly regulating utilities has never been easy. Consider what regulation has to accomplish. It needs to ensure the provision of utility service that is safe, economical, reliable, environmentally responsible, innovative, and priced fairly to all classes of customers, industrial, commercial, and residential. But while never easy, responsible utility regulation is much harder today than it was even 20 years ago when I was fresh out of law school and I started practicing public utility law. Over the last 20 years or so, the industry the Commission regulates and the world in which those industries operate have changed dramatically. Technology has changed, customer expectations have changed, environmental concerns have changed, industry economics have changed, financials have changed, and the institutional backdrop has changed. I have observed these changes firsthand, and I've been in the trenches as we have tried to address the issues that these changes have issued. Those issues include cost-effective investments in a modern, highly integrated energy grid, an aggressive but cost-effective and fair transition from traditional ways of generating electricity to renewable, non-CO2 emitting energy sources. The role of conservation, how to accommodate distributed generation, and how to ensure the entire state has reasonably priced access to high-speed broadband service. Let me note that broadband, which most of us view today as an essential service, barely existed 20 years ago. So responsible, forward-looking utility regulation, which was always hard, has become harder. Harder, but not impossible. If the Public Service Commission is proactive, if the Commission listens with an open mind to all stakeholders and engages those stakeholders in a robust, transparent exchange of information and ideas, and supported by the Commission's hardworking and expert staff, we can get the job done. And I'm looking forward to getting started. Thank you. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Craig Thompson.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Governor-elect Evers. It is my honor to be your choice, your pick for the Secretary of the Department of Transportation. It's a daunting endeavor. I don't underestimate that, but I'm eager to get started. Here in Wisconsin, we have 81 public transit systems. We have 129 general aviation airports. We have 10 railroads, including 4 Class 1 railroads. We have 29 commercial ports, and we have 115,000 miles of interstate, state, and local roads. That is awe-inspiring when you think of the breadth of that. But it's not the physical assets that are so important to our economy here in Wisconsin. It's what moves over them. It's the corn, the cranberries, the beer, the paper, the heavy machinery, the motorcycles, and ultimately the people. That's what's so incredibly important to our economy here in Wisconsin. You know, the efficient movement of these goods, I think we intuitively know is important, but I never quite realized until I started this job, and you start looking at Site Selector magazines and groups that look at this nationally. They do surveys of CEOs every year across the country, and they ask them to rank reasons why they choose to locate their businesses in a given area. Access to highways and access to skilled labor has been the top 2 issues for why businesses decide to locate in a given area every year that I've followed these surveys for the last 10 years. If we think about access to skilled labor, in this hyper-competitive economy that we're in right now, the race to attract young, talented people is the hottest commodity out there. And these young, talented people are demanding modal options when they decide where they want to plant their flag and offer their wares. We need to provide those modal options to those people. And when we talk about barriers to employment, individuals that live in our cities that don't have access to a vehicle or don't own a vehicle, their ability to have reliable transportation to get to and from a job has to be up among the #1 issues to remove for those barriers. In the second most transportation-dependent state in the country, we have fallen behind in almost every metric. There's been a lot of numbers thrown back and forth about the quality of our roads, but I will tell you there is only one measurement that is accepted by the federal government that is comparable from state to state, and that's called the International Roughness Index. And according to that, 32% of Wisconsin's state highways are in good condition. That is not only the worst in the Midwest, but is the worst in the Midwest by a gaping margin. If you compare that to our neighbors in Ohio, in Michigan, in Indiana, where 75% of their state highways are in good condition, that's not okay. We need to improve on that. Governor Evers, when I interviewed with him, among other things, he asked me, why do you want this job? I alluded to a lot of the reasons I just went through, but the main one I said was because I believe you. He ran on bringing this state together, not taking things off the table, and building consensus to find a sustainable solution to our transportation problems. And I believe he's going to do that. There are some voices in this state that want to pit the rural areas against the rest of the state and vice versa. But I will tell you, we will not solve our transportation issues until we view our transportation system as just that, a system. Whether it's the town roads in Crandon or Wausau or other Rhinelander, those constitute the first and last mile, are an important link to our dairy producers and our timber producers and our cranberry growers. But our interstates in the southeastern part of the state are equally important as those commodities and products make their journey through Wisconsin to the rest of the United States and in many cases overseas. We can do this. We can bring the state together. Politicians divide, but leaders lead. Governor Evers has vowed that he's going to lead this effort and I am honored to be a part of us finding our answers. We can do this. We can get our transportation system back to where it is competitive from a quality standpoint, and we can do it while the users of this system, what they pay is very competitive compared to what our neighbors pay. I'm excited to get started, and I can't wait to be part of this administration. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Mark Afable. Mark.
Thank you, Craig, and thank you, Governor-elect Evers, for this great opportunity. I'm honored and looking forward to serving as the Commissioner of Insurance. As Commissioner, I'll work diligently to ensure consumers are protected. Tackling the availability and affordability of health insurance is critical and is a priority for us moving forward. I'll also continue to address the availability and affordability of other insurance products that Wisconsin consumers both need and desire. Advocating for consumers is a priority while preserving the robust insurance marketplace in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is one of the leading insurance industry sectors in the state. Nearly 250 insurers call Wisconsin home, and over 1,500 companies are licensed to do business in the state. Only 4 other states have more insurance companies doing business within their borders. Maintaining a financially strong and growing insurance industry is essential. I spent 35 years working with state insurance regulators, and I have the utmost regard for the staff at OCI. They have always been professional, and they're very well respected across the country. I look forward to working with this team to uphold that reputation, including the deep commitment to ethics and integrity in serving the state. In closing, I would like to thank my wife, Peggy, and our family for all their support. As we all know, living in Wisconsin is really a great thing, and I'm excited to be part of a team that's dedicated to making Wisconsin a greater place to live and to do business. Thank you. It's my pleasure to now introduce Brad Pfaff.
Thank you, Governor-elect Evers, for this tremendous opportunity. My name is Brad Pfaff. It is with pride and humbleness that I stand before you. Agriculture in our state is at a crossroads. Low commodity prices are placing tremendous economic and emotional strain on our state's dairy and grain farmers. An average of 2 dairy farms per day are going out of business. Farm bankruptcies are on the rise. Even with these obstacles, interest in farming and agriculture as a profession continues to grow. Agriculture provides an $88 billion annual economic engine to our state. Dairy alone makes up nearly half at $43 billion. However, agriculture is more than just economics. In many ways, it is what unites us as a people, both urban and rural. Regardless of where one may live, the people of Wisconsin understand and appreciate our agriculture heritage. We recognize the beauty and uniqueness of our landscape. We are proud that our state is a national and international leader in dairy, cheese-making, and specialty crops. The state of Wisconsin and the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection does not set the price that farmers will receive for the product. That is done through the marketplace. But what DATCP, while we cannot wave a magic wand and make farm gate prices immediately rise, what we can do is we can provide farmers with opportunities, more value-added opportunities to become even more profitable. Working together with the governor, the state legislature, other agencies, and the private industry, we can work to develop policies that benefit our state's farmers, our rural communities, and all state residents. DATCP is also the primary consumer protection agency Under my leadership, DADCAP will work every day to protect Wisconsin consumers from unfair and deceptive business practices. Agriculture is personal to me. I'm the oldest child of family farmers. My grandparents, both my mom's parents and my dad's parents, farmed. In fact, the farm that I grew up on, my parents purchased. My grandparents lived just across the road, and that's where they farmed. And that's where my dad grew up. My mom's brother, he farmed just 4 miles up the road. The farm paid our bills. It was the money from the milk check that put food on our table, and it put the clothes on our back. It was the milk check that put the braces on my teeth, and it was the milk check that provided money for me to go to college. The farm taught me the value of hard work, and it taught me the difference between right and wrong. The farm framed my values. Quite frankly, the farm made my outlook on life. As DADCAP Secretary, I will do everything I can to provide opportunities for our farmers and for our rural communities to grow and to prosper. I will work to protect our consumers. I will travel the state. I will meet farmers, I will meet rural residents, and I will meet consumers, and I will listen to their ideas. I will be their advocate. I will be their voice. Family farmers, rural residents, and Wisconsin consumers will have a passionate defender with me at the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. Governor-elect Evers, thank you very, very much for this opportunity.
Again, it's an honor for me to stand here with these 4 new leaders of state government. When we embarked on this process, as I said before, we're looking for some folks to connect the dots. But at the end of the day, it is about talent. Whether you're in the public sector or the private sector, your success is based on the talent that the people that you bring into that enterprise possess. And I am absolutely confident that the selections that we have made and announced thus far, we have met those goals. So thank you very much. I'll be glad to answer any questions that people might have.
Governor-elect Speaker Voss and Senator Fitzgerald yesterday said that they would be interested in potentially just working out their own budget if you included some provisions like tax increases or Medicaid expansion. Do you plan to make any concessions in that budget document so that they might be more willing to work with you?
Well, I think we're going to be able to work together regardless of those 2 pillars that you talked about. I think it's important to realize that I was elected to solve some problems, and our budget is going to reflect that. We're going to have a robust budget. We're going to be making sure that our schools are strong, our institutions of higher ed are strong, we have a good transportation system, and that we have adequate and affordable and accessible health care. So my budget will be part of that. We'll have all those pieces, and I believe we'll be able to work with the legislature to make that happen. What I don't want, frankly, is to repeat what happens at the national level, where the president does something and suddenly the legislature takes off in a different direction. People of Wisconsin expect us to work together, and I plan to do that with the legislature. But this is the people's budget, and so once it is set, we will be going across the state of Wisconsin, encouraging people to give us more input, but most importantly to be active participants in the budget process. And I believe at the end of the day, we will reach a good place for the people of the state of Wisconsin. I'm sure Speaker Voss and Leader Fitzgerald have that same goal. So I'm confident we can be there.
What solutions do you propose for road funding?
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
What solutions are you proposing for road funding?
We're going to bring, as I said during the campaign, and our secretary designee just mentioned that we're bringing people together and we're going to find a solution. Actually, I've seen some solutions already posited in the newspapers. So I think we're in a good place going forward. But we will reach that conclusion as a group, and we're not going to foreclose any reasonable solution.
that include raising the gas tax?
That includes all options are on the table.
I had a question for Craig on that point. Craig, do you have a number in mind that you see as the maximum you think the gas tax could go up and be reasonable?
No, I think that's something, as the governor said, everything's on the table, and we're going to bring people together. There's been commissions that have looked at it, and I mean, there's different things out there, but
Yeah.
I don't believe that there's any number.
Yeah, we're not going to preordain, predetermine anything.
We have time for one more question.
Tony, the other night you were
Hi.
asked about WEDC and the new audit that suggests that perhaps Foxconn can still be eligible for WEDC incentives, even if jobs are created outside of Wisconsin or work is done outside of Wisconsin. Have you had a chance to digest that story, sir? And
Yeah.
what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I have two thoughts on this. The first one is, this is a good example of why one of the reasons I was so opposed to the work in special session. Essentially, they have removed the governor from leadership opportunities with WEDC by the changes that they have made. And so I'd be able to be more influential, frankly, if they hadn't done that. And that, I believe that was a mistake. So the bottom line is, yes, we want to make sure that these tax credits are going for the purposes they were originally intended, and so I'll be working with the Foxconn directly, and hopefully resolve that in the very near future. But it's a perfect example of why that change was a mistake, is that now we have this workaround in order to try to resolve the problem. And but we'll get there. That's the hand I was dealt, and so we will work directly with Foxconn to resolve that.
Governor Evers, Governor-elect Evers,
Yeah.
has Foxconn reached out to you? Have you opened dialogue with Foxconn yet?
Yes, we have. I met with some representatives last week, or this week, excuse me, earlier this week.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Good job. Good job. Thanks, Joey. Thanks for all your passion, every one of you. It's great.
We're all headed upstairs if you want to go out this way with them.